There's only one fighter on the UFC roster who's got a mustache like this, and happy to see in action. It is Vinc Pichel is going to be taking on Ismael Bonfim. UFC Fight Night, November 4th in Brazil. Vince, how's it going, man?
What up, James? Doing good. How you doing?
Doing great. It's good to talk to you. I feel like it's been a bit, but we haven't seen you in the cage in a while. I know you're supposed to have that fight against Benoit Saint Denis. I know there's been a few setbacks. Just for people who don't know, what's been keeping you out of the cage for so long?
Man, just injuries. I had to get hip surgery. I had to pull out of a fight actually last December. I think I was supposed to fight Jesse Ronson. I had to pull out of that fight. I had to get hip surgery again on my left hip. This time was pretty major. Fucked it up pretty bad. So basically had to have my whole left hip rebuilt and reconstructed, new anchors and stuff put in. And then I came back to training a little early. I had it in my head that I'd be able to fight 8 to 10 months later, which I tried to do because that's what I did when I fought Miller. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but before I fought Miller, I had hip surgery 8 months before I fought Jim Miller.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. And I took that fight on 10 or 11 days notice, whatever it was. But I kind of had the same issue. I had the hip surgery. So I had it in my head. I got this timeline, 8 or 9 months, I'll be fighting again. I had a fight. And then immediately I came back to training a little too soon and tried to kind of push it. And it ended up being bad. Right. I got hurt. I had to pull that fight with Jesse Ronson. I got injured. Well, actually, that was after I got that. And then I had the fight with St. Denis after my hip surgery, and then I got injured doing that. Nothing too major, but it was an injury that would have put me out of the gym and prevented me from preparing for that fight. And I don't like to go into any fight or anything half-ass. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out there and not give the guy the best of me. So that was kind of like the thing for me. And it's just honestly just me myself. I'm too rough on my body for how old I am and everything I've done. And I don't know to quit sometimes. So it was just me kind of just trying to push things and expecting my body to act like it's 20 years old. So.
Right. And some bad luck. I know we've been doing interviews for years. I know there's always been like little things that have sort of kept you out of the cage and everything like that. Let me ask you though, with something as major as a hip surgery, was there, any talks of maybe this is the end? Cause I know, when you get a lot of injuries, it does sort of add up. Was that ever going through your head at all?
Yeah. And I just kind of tried to ignore it. Cause it's, I cry about it. It's very depressing for me to have to, prematurely quit fighting because of an injury. Yeah. I think all fighters are a little worried about that, right? That's kind of like our Achilles heel. We don't want that to happen. And so, yeah, man, it was really tough. And immediately I'm a little too rough on my body. I sometimes forget how old I am, and you know what I mean? I don't think about that kind of stuff. And so active recovery and post training sessions have been a really big staple in my training, and my body's healthy now, and November 4th, that poor bastard's going to feel it.
Yeah, no, we're excited to see you back. And I don't know if we've talked since you made the move to Colorado. Like, how long has that been, and how's the adjustment been going from California to Colorado?
Sorry, I got some of my teeth.
It's all good.
It's actually been really great. I like it out here, man. Like, without getting too political and whatnot, out here in Colorado is what California used to be.
Right.
Kind of before the Obama season. Mm-hmm. And it's slowly getting worse. I'm probably going to end up moving again, but the move has been really good for me. The team's been really great. The environment out here is much better for me, right? I'm at altitude now, which is really helping me, my conditioning, my fighting, which has already been something I've been known for, my conditioning. And so it's honestly just been good, man. The only hiccups I've had out here have just been my injuries and me not being able to stay active, because I was trying to get more than one fight a year after this last one, and I almost got it, but son of a bitch came back with injuries, came back around and claimed me. So I'm just excited that I get to go back out there again and fight and do what I love and shock these motherfuckers and laugh at everybody who doubts me and bets against me.
Absolutely. And then, sorry, you just mentioned something there. Like, you think you're going to move again. Do you have any ideas where you're going to move in the future? I was just curious about that.
No, we're just somewhere where Democrats aren't taking over things and fucking up life for everybody, making things dangerous, man. Like, I don't know, man. I like I said, I hate to get real political, but these politicians are just shitbags, man. Like, they don't give a fuck about anything besides lining their pockets. And so that's what's happening out here. I see what's happening out here in Colorado, especially Denver, is the same thing that's happened in California. It's a cancer that's growing and it's spread, and it's here in Colorado too. So that's what really worries me, because I'm not going to stick around for that bullshit, man. I'm not going to sit here and wait till gas is $7 a gallon like it is in California. I'm the fuck out of here. As far as where I'd go, I don't know, man. I honestly just want to buy some land and not have to worry about the government or anyone else, right? Just have my own little farmland and fuck everybody and everything. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't need anybody or anything. I'm kind of at the mercy right now because of training, and I need to be in a city for training. But you know what I mean? As soon as fighting's over, I'm the fuck out of the cities, man. I'm staying.
Get off the grid. Do your own thing. I think that's smart, man. I got 2 kids now. I'm paying attention to a lot of that stuff even more with everything that's going on in the government. I was just in California. It's not looking good. In terms of just them kind of leaving things. We could do a whole podcast on this, but I'm sure people want to hear about your fight with Bonfim here, maybe another time. But you're going to Brazil. You're fighting this up and comer. You just mentioned it there. People are probably going to count you out. Do you like being in this spot where it's like, hey, I can go out there and really prove a lot of people wrong? Like, people are doubting me.
Yeah, it's funny, man. And it's funny you say that, because I was actually thinking of this analogy the other day. And the reason why I'm the way I am is because people don't heed the warnings of the devil, right? Like all these people who doubt me and whatnot, they really don't take into account the things I've been through and the things I've accomplished, despite my back being against the wall every single time. Right. And I'm just I'm, you know what I mean? I just feel like a cornered animal again. And that's when I'm the most dangerous.
Yeah, no, we can't wait, man. Again, Bonfim there, great record. Stylistically, how are you looking at this fight?
It's going to be a fun striking battle, man, and something I'm actually looking forward to. I'm a little upset about the fight with Madsen. I feel like I got kind of cheated out of that split decision, but it is what it is. And so I'm just excited I can go out there and just kind of bang with someone who's going to want to sit there and fucking throw back, like, I don't know, that makes me excited. Like, I love that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how most people feel, but I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Who's going to, like, when are you going down to Brazil? Have you figured all that out yet? Because obviously, it's a little bit different than fighting here, in the US. When are you heading down, and who's going with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Coach Mark with me, Mark Montoya. I'm gonna have Coach G, who's my pad holder now, and then Alex Hernandez is gonna be in my corner.
Nice.
Alex is a good friend of mine. Me and him have really made a good bond since I've met him, and I believe it was 2019. We did a USO tour over in the Middle East. And ever since I've met that guy, me and him have been really tight. Like, we really see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. He's a very honest person, so I really cherish having him as a friend and someone. So it's really good to have him in my corner.
Yeah, and as far as other training partners, who do you get to work with over there at Factory X? It's a pretty big gym, but is there anyone you work with a little bit more than others?
Yeah, I mean, most notably would be the guy who just won a Contender Series contract, Markel Medeiros, right? Like, yeah. He's one of the biggest partners I have in there. Him, Jacoby Jones, who just was on Contender Series but lost his fight. There's other guys in there. I don't really train with them so much, but like the lighter guys like Chris Gutierrez, Yusuf Zalal, Jonathan Martinez. Right, there's a lot of UFC guys, and there's a lot of guys in there that you wouldn't even know about either that are also very dangerous, right? That give me trouble in the gym in certain aspects, right? And so I think as a whole, the team that we have at Factor X that Mark has put together is actually a really, really top tier team. And not even so much with like names and people you'd know, but just characters and skills and, the kind of people who will push you and make you be greater and do better. And that's like super important to me. So like, as far as that goes, I'm like home, man. This is home for me.
Yeah. Glad it's all worked out, man. What's your prediction? How do you see the fight playing out on November 4th?
I think I'm just going to outsmart this kid, man. Like, he's got good boxing, right? But he's super basic. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the predicament of the young explosive fighter, the young hungry explosive fighter fighting the old intelligent lion, right? And so, of course, I don't think he's going to really beat me unless I think the only thing that'll beat me is probably me. You know what I mean? Like, of all my losses that I've had, it's been me who's basically beat me, not the other guy, not the other way around. And it's just like kind of some self-sabotage shit and some other things, right, involving. But I'm past that, and that's not something that's going to deter me this time. So I'm actually looking for a finish this time. I feel like I haven't had one in a while, and I really need to. So I'm going to go out there and just I'm going to go out there and kill or be killed, honestly.
Sticking with predictions, wanted to ask you about a couple other fights. We've Tony Ferguson, Paddy Pimblett.
I'm in Ferguson. I think Ferguson's going to win that. I think he's still got the fire. I mean, Paddy Pimblett is like a decent fighter, but he's always going to stay a low to mid-level fighter in my eyes, unless he really changes his outlook and his mentality. Mm-hmm. I don't like Tony Ferguson. Like, if war broke out, I'd go kick Tony's ass, right? The first fucking person I kick, because I just don't like him. But I got to respect him for his fighting and what he's capable of. So I think Tony's going to take that.
Why don't you like Tony Ferguson?
We just had an issue a long time ago, me and him personally. Like, I used to train at Big John McCarthy's a long, long time ago.
Mhm.
When I first started training in like 07 to 2015, I think, like the first few years of my career. And Tony Ferguson came in because he wanted to train with us with the team. And immediately before that, we knew he had a reputation of being a bridge builder or bridge burner. He's burned people before, and we all knew about it. And so Big John kind of came up to us and was like, "Hey, Tony Ferguson wants to train with us, yada yada." And at first, I'm like, you know what, fuck that guy. He's a scumbag. I don't trust him, right? But on the other end, he'd be a good partner. So let's just let him come in and let's train with him and see how he does. If he fits in with us, like shit, he might fit, right? I might just be an asshole, and he could fit in with us. So we're like, let's do it. So he comes in one day. And then I'm just coming back in the gym. I had a very bad neck injury. I don't even remember how I messed my neck. I want to say it was like dirtbag riding or something. I had a real bad neck injury, so I wasn't training. And I had just gotten back in the gym, and I was still a little like injured, but like kind of getting over that hump, right, and starting to get better. And we were practicing Kimuras, and so we're going over technique, just technique. We're not doing shit but technique, right? And I tell him, I'm like, hey, I'm just coming back from a neck injury. Whatever you do, just don't like do anything that's going to tweak my neck, right? With the Kimura. First thing this piece of shit does is he gets a Kimura and then he continues to scissor me across my neck and just squeeze it as hard as he can. Not even touching the Kimura, just squeezing my neck as hard as he can. So I started cussing. I think I punched him in the fucking dick or something to get him to let go. And then, because I was just letting him do technique on me. And so I get up and he's like, what's your problem? And I fucking shove him. And then Big John gets between us. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy, John. If you're going to keep this guy, I'm gone. I don't give a fuck. Fuck this guy. He's a piece of shit. So ever since then, I've just been like, fuck you, Tony Ferguson. You're not my, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never be friends with him because that showed me what a piece of shit he really is.
That's a good enough reason to say that. No, for sure. I was just curious about that. We got 2 new fights added at 294 next Saturday. The first one is Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman. What do you think of that? And I know Chimaev's favored. Do you agree with that?
I mean, of course he's going to be favored because he just come out and wrecking people, right? And Usman's coming up a weight class. But man, you can't really take Usman out because he's got such a good skill, right? His pedigree in fighting has escalated a lot, especially since worked with Whitman and those guys, right? And so, man, I don't know. I think Chimaev might pull it off just because he's a bigger, more physical person at that weight class than Usman. He's coming up a weight class. But I think Usman definitely has the ability to really take him out. And if he does, fuck yeah, man, I'm going to be excited. But I'm not going to bet against Chimaev.
And then last one, Islam and Volk. Who's winning that fight, the rematch?
Man, I hope Volk doesn't get cheated this time and actually gets the win. I feel like he slightly edged Islam in that other fight. I hope he wins, but it's a really tough fight against Islam. And I mean, not to really talk shit, but I really don't trust Russian fighters that are fighting in Abu Dhabi. Like those guys, like who was it? I think Bobby Green said some shit about these guys recently, training in a mosque, and USADA doesn't go and test them for months. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust that those guys weren't juiced in their whole camp, right? And it's honestly the same thing with Brazilians. And then I hear USADA is going to be gone January, so you're going to see some people who are lower tier really jump the rankings quick. I think coming up here.
How many more fights do you have left on your contract? Do you know?
I think I just got a new contract.
Oh, you did? Oh, congrats, man.
Yeah, I just got a fresh contract, which I didn't even expect to get because I lost that last fight against Madsen, and I was like, you know what? I don't even want to talk contracts or, you know what I mean? I feel like I have no worth to talk to you guys about contracts. But Shelby and Jason House, my manager, were like, you know what? Let's just do it. You know what I mean? Like, we love you. We understand it's just a hiccup. You know what I mean? You go through issues just like everybody else. So let's just do this. So I got a fresh contract, man, and I'm feeling good about it.
Good for you. And we're looking forward to seeing you back in action, man. November 4th, it is UFC Fight Night. Vince, anyone you want to thank, man? Any sponsors, any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, all my social media is from Help a Show. I'd love to thank my sponsors, everyone who's helped me out. Out here in Denver, it's My Fit Foods, who's like a really good prepackaged food store. You can go in there and get awesome meals, which I was eating just now. I was eating some salmon and rice. I'll show my bongs right there. Eating some salmon and rice. Right. Also, Mr. Smoke Buddy has been a really big part of me. Denver Chiropractic out here has been really keeping my body in good shape and good condition. Every time I have an issue, I go see Trent Artichoke over at Denver Chiropractic. He helps me out. And then all the guys at Factor X. And last but not least is Rev Gear. Rev Gear has been a super huge part of my life and my fighting career as far as that goes. And man, without them, I don't know, like they've helped me more than I could even explain to some people with gear and just support and whatnot. So really, really thank you to those guys.